All right, so it's 11:01 on my watch, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So first of all, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today on this webinar about the Imagine and Be Empowering Young Leaders program led by the New Brunswick Multicultural Council. So today we will be speaking to you about how the Imagine and Be program creates a path to intercultural leadership for youth in the province. And to begin, let us have a look at who are the individuals who will be speaking to you today. So for starters, it's myself. My name is Ariane Melana, and I am the manager of youth initiatives at MBMC, as well as the manager of the Imagine and Be program. I have led this program ever since it was created back in 2017. So I am personally super excited to tell you all about its continuation. We also have two Imagine and Be alumni rock stars with me today, who I will now invite to introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Faris Amini. I'm originally from Syria. I'm one of the Imagine and Be alumni, and I'm now working at the New Brunswick Multicultural Council as the Youth Initiatives Intern. And yeah, I'm so excited to share about my experience in the Imagine and Be and encourage you and other youth to be part of the program.
Hello, everyone. I'm Hannah Jan Atilia. I'm originally from the Philippines, and I'm currently living in St. John, New Brunswick, and starting university in the fall. And I'm also part of the Imagine and Be alumni, and I'm really excited to talk to you about Imagine and Be and how it impacted my life.
Thank you to both of you. We're so happy you can join us. And in the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that the three of us are living and working on the unceded Wolastoqey territory. We are reminded as immigrants ourselves that the lands we have been welcomed to were previously occupied by independently thriving Indigenous societies, and that the waves of immigration have resulted in a deep and long history of forceful disruption to Indigenous peoples' traditional ways of living and land. And we are grateful to be welcomed on these lands. So this is a plan that we have for all of you today. We'll begin by sharing a little bit about the New Brunswick Multicultural Council as the organization that is leading the program, and to help you understand a little bit about how we operate. We will focus on one of the pillars of MBMC, which is the youth, and share some of the reasons that led MBMC to create this program in the first place, to truly understand the journey of youth empowerment and leadership. We will explain how and why Imagine and Be creates a path to intercultural leadership for students in New Brunswick. We're also going to be talking about how the program is going to work this year, what the plan is for 2020 to 2021, and in light of the global COVID-19 pandemic. We're also going to talk to you about why we're so excited about Imagine and Be, that we cannot stop talking about it, and why we think you shouldn't stop talking about Imagine and Be with the youth that you work with, parents, guardians, and teachers. And if you're a youth joining us on this webinar today, we will share why you should not stop thinking about Imagine and Be. And of course, we love to hear from you. So what questions do you have for us, or any comments? So we will be allowing some time at the end of the webinar for any questions and or comments you may have. Now, a little note about technology. So all of the participants except the presenters have their mics on mute and their cameras off. And this is to ensure that only those who are presenting the content can speak, as it allows for a better connectivity and flow of the webinar. Having said this, we do want to hear from you. So please feel free to add any of your comments and or questions on the chat all throughout the webinar. We will be taking these questions and comments at the end of the webinar. And to open the chat, you simply click on the chat button that should be at the bottom of your screen. And then there's gonna be a pop-up appear, like a dialog box, and you can type in your message there and it will send it to us. If at any point you become disconnected, please click on the same link that you received via email, so that way you can join us back to the conversation. And we will also be showing some videos during the webinar. So please bear with us as we navigate all of the ins and outs of technology. Finally, this webinar is being recorded, so you will have access to it after we're done today. Okay, so for those of you who do not know much about the New Brunswick Multicultural Council, we have been around since 1983, and essentially what we do is we act as a single point of advocacy and coordination for all of the various immigrant-serving agencies throughout the province. So wherever you are, this essentially means that we're relatively close to you, in the sense that there is some sort of agency that is set up somewhere within the province with a primary mandate to take care of the newcomers and help them to successfully integrate as they arrive to New Brunswick. Our job is to act as an umbrella organization, a collaborative advocate, and a coordinator of projects for all of these different associations that you see on the screen right now. We work on immigration, build strategic partnerships and efforts, and we help with various group projects and discussions that need to happen on something that is so complicated and multifaceted as immigration. Now, Imagine NB is NBMC's signature youth leadership program, and it is bilingual and it includes all of the province of New Brunswick. So that's a little bit about us. Now let's talk a little bit about what is most important, which is the youth themselves. So first of all, let's talk about the province where we live in, New Brunswick. It is safe to say that New Brunswick is becoming more diverse and multicultural as the year goes by. But what does this really look like in reality? Well, perhaps classrooms having more diversity, conversations becoming richer, and more families that represent ethnically, culturally, and linguistically diverse backgrounds. Why does this matter? Well, because the only thing that is constant in life is change, and operating in this pluricultural and plurilingual world is a necessary skill to develop, and we cannot go back from this. This is the way forward and the ways in which we all, but especially young students, adapt understandings, their way of working with others, of relating to others in an inclusive way is crucial, not only for newcomer youth or people who are new to the province, but it benefits everyone. Nowadays, there are so many things competing with youth time and attention. If you're new to the province, you may not have any community connections or know where to get started. As a high school student, you may not have any idea about what types of skills are needed for you to enter the workforce, or what careers are growing here where you might see a job in the future. All of this at the same time happens as you may be navigating through high school emotions, pressures, challenges unique to you, stress from responsibilities. It's all a big roller coaster. Now, we know that youth want to imagine New Brunswick in a whole new way. They want to see visible minorities in leadership positions. They want to make a real difference. They want equal access to opportunities. They want community connections and networks. They want to end discrimination, racism, and bullying. Imagine NB creates fresh opportunities to enable youth, to enable you to be the change that you want to see. And how do we get there? Well, there are many ways we can take to transform our communities for the better, but Imagine NB is all about NBMC's belief in youth. In order to build a more inclusive New Brunswick, youth need to be part of driving this change. Youth need to know they have a role in New Brunswick and that they need support in getting there. Imagine NB is a platform and a space dedicated to youth for youth. Now, the experiences of the youth who participated from 2017 to 2020, such as Faris and Hannah, taught us that Imagine NB truly creates a path to intercultural leadership for youth in New Brunswick. You get to travel and explore the province, learn and discuss topics that matter to you, receive training on how to be better prepared to have a job, to give presentations, to work with others, to resolve conflicts. All the while, you are gaining new friendships and a network of people who will support you. Now, I have been speaking for too long. I will now invite my talented and wonderfully alumni youth to share with us what makes Imagine Be so awesome and some of the key aspects of the program that made Imagine Be such a magical moment in history for them.
Hello again, everyone. So, as an immigrant who was new to this country, it was difficult for me to find people to connect with, but joining Imagine NB helped me make connections I never knew I needed. Most importantly, they became my second family. Throughout the program, we would meet guest speakers from different parts of New Brunswick, and we learned a lot from them about the province. They would also give information regarding different organizations that can help us into anything. Most of the retreats, we would meet politicians and talk to them about how we can improve the province from the eyes of the youth. During and after Imagine NB, the connections we built helped us gain opportunities. As a personal example, I didn't know about Photo Voice project here in Atlantic if it wasn't for one of the chaperones we had telling me to join. I joined it and I was able to share my photos and opinions in the Atlantic provinces. All in all, joining Imagine NB became a bridge for me in gaining people connections and opportunities. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Hannah. And do we have a video to show right now, or do you want it later?
Oh yeah, we would like to show you a video about one of our previous retreats. It's in Miramichi and how we made friends with the Indigenous elders.
Okay, so I'm just gonna show a video right now. Please bear with me. And it should be appearing on your screen.
That we are privileged to be on the land of the First Nation people, and we are right now standing on the territory of Mi'kmaq Nation.
Language is very important. It identifies of who you are and where you come from, and from your ancestors of long ago.
I think it's important for newcomers to know about history of Indigenous people. We need to know more about Indigenous people, their culture and their history.
Donc pour le Conseil multiculturel du Nouveau-Brunswick, il est extrêmement important que les jeunes leaders qui font partie de ce programme comprennent la réalité et la dynamique de la province du Nouveau-Brunswick, que ce soit les Premières Nations, que ce soit les Acadiens, que ce soit les anglophones, que ce soit le tissu des immigrants eux-mêmes qui nous ont précédés. Les leaders doivent comprendre l'histoire et le patrimoine du peuple de Premières Nations qui a contribué énormément à l'histoire du Canada et à l'histoire du Nouveau-Brunswick. Donc, il faut extrêmement aller dans le sens où il faut bâtir des ponts avec ce peuple qui a sa propre culture, qui a ses aspirations, qui a ses rêves, qui a ses espoirs, pour qu'on puisse bâtir des liens, pour qu'on puisse tendre la main et voir de quelle façon qu'on pourrait non seulement travailler ensemble, mais vivre ensemble.
When I first came here, and I attended a powwow, I was really amazed because that is the time when I realized there are a lot of similarities between the native culture and the East Indian culture. The way the drums are played, the way the songs are done, the totem pole, and it was really amazing. And I was thinking, maybe millions of years ago, I don't know, but probably we were all one without thinking that, we belong to this particular religion or this particular God.
The drum represents the heartbeat of all nations, of all living things, the fish, the birds, the animals.
Plusieurs activités qui étaient autour de la culture, des traditions du peuple autochtone. C'est vraiment des choses très intéressantes. On a appris beaucoup. Ça fait même pas une journée qu'on est ici, puis on a appris énormément sur cette culture. Une culture vraiment vibrante, pleine d'énergie, la musique. En tout cas, c'est vraiment une belle culture. Et puis, je suis sûr qu'on va continuer à apprendre énormément sur ces traditions.
And I'm so honored and happy to be here with you. I love you all.
Seeing problems as opportunities for change, determine what action is needed to change things for the better, and inspiring other people to get on board with the change is now.
It's in your hands to make a change in this world, and I'm sure y'all can do that if you can have an open mind.
Okay, so you should all be able to see my PowerPoint again.
Yeah, that's good.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, so Imagine NB has done so much for me and impacted positively on my life. I believe that my self-confidence has significantly increased during and after the time in the Imagine NB program. At the beginning, when the program started back in 2017, I remember I was kind of shy or hesitated to engage in the activities and workshops and the retreats. But as the time went on, I started feeling more confident than before because of the spaces that were open for me to speak and share my opinion and thoughts. As the time went on, Imagine NB always tried to deliver the message that we matter. We as immigrants, newcomers, refugees, citizens, anyone here matters. Having that message sticking in my mind is what always gave me the motive and confidence to speak up and represent myself and who I am. Imagine NB was a kind of space for me where I always felt listened to, valued, and important, and it trying to make every participant feel the same when we are out in our communities. I have built up great relationships with our other participants and started feeling more belonged than I did when I joined at the beginning. This sense of belonging got bigger and I started having it in my school and in my community. I started getting more involved in my school and trying not to miss out on any great opportunity. As I got more involved, I felt that I also matter in the school and in the community and everywhere. Imagine MB had taught me how to take good care of my mental health and well-being. I learned a lot about myself and my personality throughout the program. I felt more valued and belonged because I had many opportunities to share my opinion, talk about my culture, and take part in many leadership roles. I have created many connections with different people and had many networking events, and all of that helped me a lot throughout my journey since arriving here in Canada.
Imagine NB helped each and every one of us gain skills that prepare us for the real world. As an example of gaining these skills, the retreat, one retreat, two guest speakers while we were in Moncton gave us tips and tricks on what to do and what not to do during job interviews. We even did an elevator pitch in which we have to present ourselves in 20 to 30 seconds. And on that retreat as well, we had a networking event where we spoke to professionals about their jobs. It was fun and a very inspiring event for me. Imagine NB helped us open our minds to sensitive topics of religion, beliefs, race, and so much more. In addition, joining Imagine NB helped me realize my passion in photography as I was just taking photos of people's smiles. It made me smile as well. And so I bought my own camera and became the official, unofficial photographer of Imagine NB. I just think that joining the program really made me explore my true potential as a person, and I'm grateful for it. So the photos you see there are the photos I took during the program.
So, mentorship of the Imagine MB. So the Imagine MB program gives the opportunity for youth to match with a mentor in their local community to get the support they need and learn new skills. When a youth matches with a mentor at the beginning, they start setting goals on what the youth want to learn and what kind of goals he or she would like to achieve. For example, from a personal experience, if a youth matches with a mentor who is a journalist and youth likes writing and wants to improve their writing skills, they may set a goal for the mentorship to improve writing skills and work on different tasks to achieve this goal. Mentees will improve and learn other skills during mentorship, like communication skills, which is an important skill to improve as the mentee interacts with the mentor and other people in the community when they go to events. Having a mentor for the youth in the community is very helpful. The youth would have that feeling that he or she is getting the support they need, especially if they're arriving new in the country and in the community. The mentor invites and offers opportunities for the youth to participate in different events and activities, which would actually make the mentee feel connected to the community and reach out to people who need it. So to show you what the Imagine MB youth delegates do at one of the retreats and how they interact and network with the leader, with the community leaders and other professionals, here's a video that you will see in a minute.
Okay, this is our second video. Please bear with me.
Imagine MB is the best thing happened in my life since I came to Canada. It brings to me a new family since I was far away of my sibling.
We have so many newcomers, so many youth coming from all over the world. We have over 10 to 14 actually countries in here, and that means a lot.
I really encourage you to not be shy. If there's a career or a profession that you're interested in, to reach out to people in your community, talk to them. Don't be shy.
It makes me more confident of myself, standing, speaking up. It teaches me whoever I am, how different I am from the people. It doesn't really matter. The important thing to hold my culture in my heart and in my hand.
I feel good as New Brunswick Multicultural Council providing this program for 2 years to enhance their leadership for a better future for them and New Brunswick.
Okay, and that was, as Faris mentioned, a video of 2018 of one of our retreats focused on mentorship and networking. And you should all be able to see my PowerPoint again.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Okay. Thank you, Faris. Okay, great. So what do you think? After all of this, are you convinced yet? Are you feeling inspired? If you're listening to all of this and you're thinking, this is just awesome and I need to be involved, well, we can share a little bit about how it's taking place this year and how we have taken into consideration the impacts of COVID-19. So let's have a look. Okay, so the first, let's begin with some key dates. The first 3 dates that you should make a note of are the ones that you have displayed on the screen right now. Why? Well, so September 25th, first of all, is a deadline to apply. So if you're interested, you need to make sure that your application makes it in time before this date. Now, between September 28th and October 2nd, all of those who have submitted their applications successfully will be receiving a date for a virtual interview with a committee of judges. And the judges are people just like you and I who are interested in getting to know you a little bit better and chat with you about what you submitted in your application. On October 2nd, we will be selecting the final youth who will be accepted into the Imagine NB program. Now, we would, of course, love to accept all of the youth who apply, but since this is such a unique and once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, it is a bit competitive, and youth truly need to show us why we should select them to the program. Now, the next set of dates you should make a note of are when the program officially begins and when it will end. So it begins with the first Leadership Accelerator retreat that will be held virtually. And it ends with the celebration of success through a graduation in March 2021. Now, we are hoping that by then, COVID-19 will not be as much as a barrier as it is today, so we'll be able to all gather together to graduate from Imagine and Be. Now, in between the start and the end, we have all the leadership accelerator retreats that are different. Now, if it looks like a lot, don't worry. The reason why you see many dates is because we are splitting the group of delegates, so the entire Imagine and Be delegation, in two. So group 1 will meet on the dates underlined in yellow, and group 2 will meet on the dates underlined in red. But both groups will be receiving the same leadership training. Now, please don't worry about all of these dates. We're going to be publishing them and making them available on our website around mid-September, so you can have a look then. The 2 key points here are that the total time engagement is of 25 days over a period of 6 months. So October 2020 to just before April 2021. Now, this doesn't mean that you will be in Imagine and Be for like 25 days straight. No, it means that you will be involved with Imagine and Be on a retreat on a weekend in October, a second one on another weekend in November, and so on. And in the end, it all really accumulates to make it it's a total of 25 days. So if we think about it, there are about 182 days in a period of 6 months. So 25 days out of 182 is actually approximately about 14% of your time, which is crazy considering how much you learn at Imagine and Be. Now, the second point that is important is that the retreats and the virtual sessions are happening during the weekend to ensure that the program does not interrupt with your responsibilities as a student in school. Now, let's take a look at what the students will actually be doing as part of Imagine and Be. So the first thing are leadership accelerators, or what we call retreats. As we saw on the previous slide, each student will be required to attend a total of 7 leadership accelerator retreats. Now, the leadership accelerator retreats increase your youth awareness and understanding around a variety of social and economic topics, so they can really envision their role in making an impact. The themes of our retreats will include the ones that you're seeing on the screen pop up right now. And then the skills and the training on leadership will include the skills that you're seeing on the screen pop up right now. So in terms of the time commitment, we are looking at, out of the 25 days that we were talking about in the previous slide, 15 days will be spent in the leadership retreats and the virtual sessions. And what's important to note here too is that when we're having the retreats and when gathering in person, travel is involved, as well as the overnight stays in hotels that are all organized by myself. And I am, of course, not alone. I am joined by an amazing team of youth chaperones and youth workers who help me with the transportation and stay with us during the retreats. So they're part of our Imagine and Be family. And the next section that we're going to look at are community projects. So the Imagine and Be delegates will organize, lead, and execute a community project. The projects will be identified with the help of our advisory committee members, who are all experts in a variety of fields across the province. Now, the project themes are related to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and Imagine and Be students receive access to microgrants and ongoing project support through a very awesome partnership that we have with Rising Youth from Taking It Global. The projects really allow you an opportunity to learn not only how to all the ins and outs of project management, but also that includes how to manage a budget to make, maybe your project is an event and how to make that a reality. Maybe your project is hosting a podcast, or maybe doing a club at your school. Whatever it is, you're using your creativity and your critical thinking to bring solutions to problems that you've identified in the community that you're passionate about. Okay, the next step is mentorship. So Faris told us a little bit about his experience with his mentor. Now, Imagine NB aims to create bridges and linkages between New Brunswickers and new New Brunswickers to foster meaningful intercultural dialogues, connections, and in many cases, friendships that really do last. It feels like they last a lifetime. The Imagine NB students are matched with a community member based on the similar profiles, interests, and passions. And they're also asked to complete at least 10 hours of mentorship between the months of October 2020 and March 2021. And mentors are assisting in the development of young leaders. They help students to clarify their goals. They guide them, support, coach them, and really encourage the students to continue developing skills and their training. All right, so throughout the program, Imagine NB delegates will be encouraged to take notes and absorb as much as you can all of the new people that you're gonna meet, the stories you're gonna hear, all the places you're gonna visit, and all the skills that you're going to develop. Why? Because these are important tools and knowledge for your professional and personal development as leaders. So obviously, Imagine NB is all about the fun, but we also get to work and learn through experiences. So the students will be required to submit assignments, and these assignments can take, they look very differently. They're very different. One can be, for example, submitting an entry for each leadership accelerator retreat that you attend. It could be submitting a reflection on how your meeting with your mentor went, or it could be some reflections on your project development as well. They look different. And these, the journal entries that will be submitted, these really are informing the student's leadership portfolio that will be submitted at the end of the program, which guarantees that you can graduate out of the Imagine NB program. And finally, the leadership portfolios. This is, all of the 5 components are amazing, but this is one of my personal favorites because this is how the students share with us in their own words and their styles what their leadership development and experience at Imagine NB was like. So the leadership portfolio, as I mentioned, is submitted at the end of the Imagine NB program and is used to really assess how you participated in the program, but also how you met the requirements for completion. And again, it's a great way for us to show us your leadership development, but also this portfolio can be used as a tool for you for future career and personal use. You can bring it to interviews if you're having like a summer job position or even after you graduate, to really speak to all these record of like inventory of experiences that you took a part of. So if this sounds like something that you are interested in, or if you know a youth who would be awesome for this, please encourage them to apply or nominate them today. We are currently recruiting youth throughout the province, and as I mentioned, the application deadline is September 25th, so really try to get them before then. And anyone in New Brunswick can nominate a youth. So if you're a community member and you know of a youth, please nominate them. The nomination form literally takes, I think, like 10 to 15 minutes to complete, and we will follow through with the youth that you have nominated to continue and actually apply for the program. So what do you actually need to do to apply? Well, we have created this amazing infographic that really shows you the steps that you need to follow to submit an application, which are very straightforward, and we explain them right here. So the first step is you go to our website, and the form is actually found on the Apply Now button. So when you apply now, you need to complete this form. And the form basically is just asking information about you. Like, for example, what school do you go to? What grade level you're going into? What community in New Brunswick you live in, all sorts of questions. And we also ask parents to sign as well to make sure that the parents are aware that their children are applying for the program. Then within that same form, So you don't have to look elsewhere. In that same form, you're asked to submit a reference letter, and this can be from any community member. So let's say that you volunteered last year, maybe at your local multicultural association, or perhaps you're part of a sports team at your school, or your teacher really knows you very well. So we just ask that you ask them to submit a reference letter for you, and you can attach that on the reference letter. However, if you have actually been nominated by someone, you do not need to attach the reference letter unless you have been nominated by a family member. Okay, so if you're nominated by someone outside of your family, you can simply, that will act as your reference letter. And if you have not been nominated, or if you haven't been nominated by a family member, we still ask you to submit a reference letter. And then finally, the third step, which is my favorite, because here's where you get to show us who you really are. This is more of like a personalized part of the application. So we ask you to, first of all, tell us about yourself and about a topic that you care about. And this can be anything. It can be maybe you're really into art, or you really love doing a spoken word poetry, or maybe you just love a particular topic, or you can tell us a little bit about the food that you like, whatever it is that makes you you. And you can show us by submitting a video, a spoken word poem, maybe an art material that you want to submit, whatever it is that it would really allow us to get to know more who you are and your personality. And the second part of this is that we ask you to answer 2 questions from a list of questions that we actually have on our website. And you can type them in like a Word document and just submit those by attaching it also on the application form. So all of these steps are found on our website. Now, so who is eligible for this? So what we're looking for is youth who are either entering grade 10, 11, or 12, practically right now. If you have an upper basic proficiency level in either French or English, we're asking this so that students are actually able to understand kind of like the content and the programming of the retreats. And finally, that you live in New Brunswick. So that's it. Those are the categories. And if you fit those, we would love to hear from you. And if you're wondering who would actually be great for this program, well, take a look at the qualities that we're going to show. So if any of the qualities that are displayed on the screen define you, or are you any one of them, then if yes, then trust me, Imagine and Be is for you. If you think that you're creative, relationship builder, change maker, all of these things, we really want to hear from you. And I'm sure that Imagine and Be will be a good fit for you.
So we are so excited about the Imagine and Be program. And here's why I think other youth should join the Imagine and Be program. So Imagine and Be program is the opportunity that youth do not want to miss out, because they will learn a lot and improve many skills, and they will take their leadership to the next level.
And I believe youth should apply because the future is theirs and it's their right to have a say and be prepared for it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Faris and Hannah. I also believe you should apply. I believe so much in this program, and I can't wait to hear from you. And what if maybe you're listening to all of this and you're thinking, oh, I would love to be part of Imagine and Be, but I'm a little bit too old to participate? Well, that's okay, because we would still love for you to join our Imagine and Be family of dedicated, committed, and really just superstar volunteers. Really, volunteers are what makes the Imagine and Be program what it is today. And you can volunteer in a variety of ways. You can be perhaps as a youth chaperone, so you would accompany us through these leadership retreats that we have in person and stay with us, and all of the costs are included. Are covered rather. And you could also, maybe you want to be a youth mentor and help to shape the leadership development of a young leader in your community. That's also a possibility. So whatever it is that you're interested in, we've outlined some of what these roles include. And there's a link that takes you to our website where you can find out more information about how to volunteer. You fill up a form as well, and then we will follow up with you for the next steps. And I also forgot to mention that the program is free of cost to the youth who participate. So if you are interested, all of your meals, your accommodations, and the travel is covered by MBMC. So we really want to make sure that there's no barrier for you to really be part of this experience. It's really helping you to be the best version of yourself right here in New Brunswick. And yeah, so that's what we have to share with you today. And that actually leads us to our questions, Q&A part of the PowerPoint. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen and bring us back to the main room, and just any comments or any questions that you would have for us. Both Faris, Hannah, and myself would love to answer any of your questions. Or if you want clarification of certain things, we can also do that. And just a reminder that as this webinar was in English, because we had 2 webinars in English this week. So one was yesterday and one was today. And then next week, we're having 2 webinars, and they're both going to be in French, September 9th and 10th from 2 to 3 p.m. And all of those can be found on our Facebook page that if you're not following, you should follow it, because there's news about the program there all the time and awesome posts, so follow them. And yeah, you can also register for those webinars. So Nina says that she's really looking forward to be a part of Imagine and Be again. Thank you so much, Nina. We're so happy you're on the webinar. And yeah, Nina was one of our youth chaperones, and she can, I'm sure she can speak a wealth of comments about how her experience was. And yeah, we're looking forward to having you again. And so yeah, are you looking for newcomers and Canadian youth? Yes, so we are looking for youth who are either, they have their status as a permanent resident student, but it's also open to Canadian youth who would be interested, and either also Indigenous youth who would be interested in participating in this program. It's also open to them. So they are welcome to apply. If you also wish to speak, you can also raise your, I believe you can raise your hand to ask any questions or so, and we can actually unmute you so that if you wanted to speak. So Faris and Hannah, did I forget anything?
I think you did great and you covered everything. Yeah.
I just want to add, like, also if you're worried about like missing one of your school subjects because you have to leave early to go to one of the retreats, Ariane will give you permission slips to give to your teachers. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that, Hannah. We do try to make sure that your participation is outside of school, so that it, you know, we understand you also have student responsibilities at school. So we don't want to make that a barrier. We want to complement that. So as Hannah mentioned, there's permission slips that go to both, well, the teachers and from the parents. I think Nina has a hand up, so I'm gonna, Nina, ask you to, how do I? One sec. Oh, here. There we go.
So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if you can see me, but I just wanted to say thank you guys. And just like tell other people that are listening that Imagine NB is like this amazing project that I'm so happy that I got in contact with. Like I felt not only the youth learn a lot, but even like the chaperones and the volunteers, I learned a ton, and I was just part of the experience, not the full of it. So yeah, I think it's just amazing for everybody to join, and just the fact that we can help youth, like the future of Canada. Like as a newcomer to Canada, it's also just interesting for me to see that we can inspire the youth to make a change. So I find this amazing.
Thank you so much, Nina. Thank you. I really appreciate you sharing and your comments.
And it's such a good webinar.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Hi, Melanie. Yes. We can.
Okay, so I work for CAFI, which is a settlement agency for Kapele and Sheriat. So my question is, has like two sides of it. So when there's a retreat for the youth, as a youth, how does the transportation, like, is it a bus that brings the youth to the retreat itself, or how does that work?
That's a great question, Melanie. So for the transportation, so as I mentioned on the PowerPoint, so the first retreat is going to be virtual, right? So that one, every youth will be able to join kind of remotely. And then for the retreats following that, we are expecting to do in-person retreats. When that happens, what happens is I have an amazing group of youth chaperones who are located all throughout the province, and they go through an application, and they submit their criminal record checks, and they are essentially what makes it happen, in the sense that they would be in charge of driving a group of youth from their community to the place where the retreat is taking place. So in that sense, there's no bus that happens. It's individual transportation through mini groups that meet at the place of the retreat together to carry out the programming and the workshops and all that stuff. So usually we go through a process where the youth chaperones are introduced to their kind of like group of youth, and they organize the logistic as to, okay, let's meet. Like in the past, for example, the St. John youth would meet at the local multicultural association through our partners, and then they would kind of go together to the place of the retreat. But sometimes these chaperones will pick up youth from their house if there's any barrier or, difficulty in getting the youth to go to that location. So we want to make sure that transportation is not a barrier. And they usually, as I mentioned, we introduce these chaperones to the youth. And then the youth chaperones, it's really neat because they get to kind of know their youth more. And anyway, so yeah.
So the youth chaperone, would their kilometers be taken care of by the MBNC? Wow.
Yes.
All
expenses
okay.
are covered.
Paid.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. And Melanie, there's a webinar also in French for the CAFI group. If you're interested, it's next week. So
yes, I can't make it, so that's why I'm on it today. Okay. So thank you. It was really good and interesting.
Thank you. We're glad you could make it. And we have some questions. So briefly, how many days do we expect early off from the school and or weekends commitment? So the schedule of the retreats and virtual sessions will be published before September 25th. So you'll be able to know in advance. And how many days expect early off? We never really do it during the week. It's always like Friday after school. If anything, I think like there had been a couple of retreats where if we're traveling to a community, let's say if the community from St. John, the youth from St. John are traveling all the way to Campbellton, for example, they may be asked to leave, like miss out the last period at school to make it on time to the retreat, but we really try to make sure that it happens on Fridays, like after school. So that way it's mostly during the weekends. So it would be like Friday evening, Saturday, and usually a Sunday before noon. I don't know if, Michael, that answers your question. And far as if Hannah, if you ever want to jump in, like, feel free.
Yeah, we have a question that says, when do you plan to start and end the program? For example, from the middle of October to the end of April. So the first retreat will, the graduation will be at the end of March, if I'm not mistaken, Ariane.
Yeah, so the first retreat will be on that weekend of October, so the 16th to the 18th. That's when the program officially begins. Like that would be like the first okay, let's get to know each other type of retreat. And then to the end of April, that would be just the weekend before April. I think it's March 26th to 28th, as far as mentioned.
Yeah.
Stanford's asking for the benefit of the group and the participants' requirements mentions that they are required to have upper basic level English proficiency. Does participants need to present certain kind of certificate?
Oh, sorry, I thought I was muted. Thank you, Hannah. Yeah, thank you, Stanford, for the question. That's that's a really good question. We don't really ask participants to present any kind of certificate. Really, I guess the language would come out when you apply for the program, and also on the interviews that we have with the group, like the getting to know you interviews to select the youth. So we don't require any type of certificate, no.
And we have another question that is, how should I see a virtual retreat and what does this imply? So virtual retreats, they're most of them will be on Zoom, right? You'll get a link and you get all of the information from Ariane and how to get connected. You'll get agendas and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Faraz. And just to add to what Faraz said, for when we're doing the virtual retreats, what is implies, there'll be a series of activities that are all made or tailored so that it can happen remotely. Something that I should also mention is that if for whatever reason youth have barriers to access to technology, so let's say that they don't have a laptop or whatever, they can indicate that to us in their application, and we actually have a loan program where we have laptops available. We don't have them for all the participants, but we do have them based on a need, based on how much this is like on a need basis. So again, it's all about addressing those barriers. And yeah, what would it imply for this virtual retreats? There's a lot of, you know, virtual, like, I don't know, like icebreakers, and we do activities where that would be okay to have on a group setting, but virtually. We have some keynote speakers, and yeah, hopefully that answered the question.
Another question from Noriville. She's asking, where can we access this webinar again if some couldn't attend today due to conflicting schedules? So we will follow up with an email sending the link of the call and of the webinar, where people could actually access the webinar and listen to it again.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to add, if you're also curious on where you're traveling, it's only just in New Brunswick. Mm-hmm. And the expenses are covered by the NBMC and the others, yeah.
Yeah, good points to mention. So do we have any youth who have already applied or maybe are interested in sending your application on the webinar? If you did this help to let us know if this helped to clarify some questions, or if you now have more questions, that's okay too. We have about 5 minutes or so before noon, so just want to make sure we have everyone able to ask any questions they have. All right, so I think maybe good job, Hannah and Faris. I think we've done good to just be so clear for everything. Yeah, I think that there maybe those are all the questions we had for today and all the comments. Again, just a reminder, there are 2 webinars happening next week. These will be in French, and they are on September 9th, which I believe is a Wednesday, and September 10th, which would be the Thursday, at the same time from 2 to 3. You can register for this webinars by emailing me or going onto our Facebook page, and you will receive a link to join us. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and have an amazing Wednesday midweek.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Have a great day.
Oh.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.